Today is a freaking huge day, boys. Even though it's only been like 16 episodes to get here, this is like a year of progress on this car because we were working on the Subaru and we were tracking the Subaru and we were just having a good time enjoying all the other cars. But now the Civic is ready to drive, even though it doesn't have an exhaust on it. But I'm so eager to drive this thing, and I know you guys have been eager in the comments for me to drive this thing. So we're gonna do it. Open downpipe, baby. One other thing I want to mention real quick, you guys probably noticed from previous videos, if you guys are OGs to the channel and you watch all the videos, my voice probably sounds a little bit different. I'm trying out these wireless mic things. I ended up splurging a little bit. This was a big purchase for me. I think they were like $400 for these mics. And since we hit 6K subscribers, I kind of bought it as a gift to myself to make the audio sound a little bit better for you guys. And I also bought a new lens so that it's a little bit further away. The lens isn't shoved in my face like this all the time. I used to have a lens like this, but I broke it. So I had to buy a new one to replace it. And that was like another $250. This stuff ain't cheap, but I'm excited because I'm always trying to step up the quality on this channel. And one thing I'm really trying to learn is camera settings. We're not going to get too heavy into that because it's a first drive video, boys. So that's what we're going to do. All right. First things first, as always, on a first drive, you need a cold start for the boys. One thing I'm going to have to get used to with these mics is I don't have to yell at the camera when I'm further away because you guys are right here. I feel so bougie right now. This is weird. I feel like I'm like a real YouTuber or something, if that's a thing. I don't know. Let's start this thing up because it's so damn loud. Oh. Dude, this thing is so loud. The friggin' winter beater. Oh my God. This looks so good with everything being red in this interior, dude. One day we're gonna get the Honda screen on here. We're gonna have all of our gauges up on the big ol' iDoing head unit. I wish I would have done this during the day so it's better lighting for you guys, but if I'm going to be honest with you, I just wanted to drive the car. I'm so excited right now. Let's reset the kilometers here so we know how many kilometers we're going to drive. I currently have 2,500 kilometers on this oil change. I didn't even change the oil when we put the turbo kit in. This oil's like over a year old, but she's a Honda, so she'll be good. Oh, look at that downshift. Okay, since I have active registration and insurance on this vehicle, I'm going to take it very easy on the highway. Oh, I forgot what this clutch was like. We have officially put 1 kilometer on the turbohonda. I don't know what the rev limiter Matt put on this is. Obviously we can't get into boost, but like, oh, it's 3,500. That's the limiter. Should roll the window down. I'm curious to see how loud this actually is. Just for all the neighborhood people here, if I go into my hometown. That's loud. That is loud. For those of of you that watch the channel and build cars too, you guys know this first drive feeling is like scary, but like super exciting at the same time. The worst part is I just want to give her a little ripper and I can't because it's on a base map and the limiter is 3,500 RPM, I think, which honestly, thank you, Matt, because if you didn't, I'd probably push her a little too hard on the base map. You know me so well. But even though she's freaking dark out already, let's give a little POV here. This is crazy how nice this thing cruises, dude. This could be the new daily, boys. The downshifts are just crispy, dude. Oh my god, I'm hyped. This is gonna be so sick. Like, this downpipe is open like right down by the shifter here. It literally feels like your butthole is vibrating. I don't know how else to explain it. Okay, limiter's not 3,500. That's $4,000. I was so confused on why it just kept going past 3,500 and then it jerked me forward. Oh, this is so fucking crazy. What the hell? Okay, what if we just do like a little, like just like third gear, just like ease into her right to $4,000. I'm not gonna go wide open throttle. We'll just like give her like a quarter throttle, see if we tip into some boost here. All right, let's see what she's got. Oh, that's so scary. Whenever it cuts, it like feels like something just blew up. That jerks me forward so hard. Bro, this car is gonna be nuts. This car looks like a bone stock Civic, and we're gonna be pulling up to like built Subarus on the highway and gap them. I put 12 kilometers on this car now. We've just been cruising on the highway. 5th gear pull. On a base map, do you hear that turbo? I haven't even checked under the hood to see if we're melting anything. I haven't looked under the hood to see if we're leaking anything. I'm just putting my trust into all of these Jack Spania Racing and Bull Boost Performance and CX Racing and all these eBay parts. But I'll just come to a stop and we're gonna see if there's any smoke coming out or anything. And if there's not, we're good. Let's see, what do we got? Any smoke, any smoke, any smoke? I don't see nothing and it's still idling perfectly. What is going on? Matt, this base map is perfect, dude. And he's gonna be mad at me, but I'm not even data logging. I'm just driving it. Should I be? Probably. Do I care right now? No, because I'm excited. All right, let's do a little like 1st to 4th here. Let's just flat foot the damn thing on a base map. Why not? Just kidding. I'm not that guy. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Cutting pretty hard there. Oh, my mom's here.
Your plate is on
Oh, you made me supper? My leftovers?
leftovers, potatoes, and corn. Hey, I gotta go, I'm late.
Okay, bye.
Okay.
How's she sound?
Ooh. I smell something. We'll figure it out when we get home. One thing that's cool, my parents, I wouldn't say they used to get annoyed by me building cars and always having loud exhaust and stuff like that, but like my parents used to always ask me like, why are you doing this to cars? Like it's supposed to be to get you from point A to point B. You don't need to be spending all this money. You don't need to be doing all this stuff. But in my opinion, it's worth it because it's fun. I can taste that. That smells like coolant. Oh, this is a little sus. This thing is such a sleeper, dude. Imagine this pulling up next to you on the highway. What are you thinking? That looks like a stock Civic. We got Steelies, stock ride height. I mean, it is missing a fog light in the front and there is an intercooler, but like, it's not that noticeable. Dude, that turbo sounds ridiculous. First thing I want to check that I could never check before is the rad hoses. This top rad hose is like hot. Oh yeah, that's so hot that freaking burned my hand. All right, so we officially got all of the air out of the system. Our bottom rad hose is hot, the thermostat opened. To slap an entire build like this together with all like eBay type of parts and not have a single issue on the first drive, like what is going on right now? Not a single leak. Our brakes worked good because we flipped that check valve around. It's a good thing we caught that before we went on the first drive. That was 20 kilometers. I reset the trip. We just put 20 kilometers on this car with not a single issue. There's no leaks. I thought I smelled coolant, but there's nothing. Our AFRs are good. Vacuum gauge is showing good. Our coolant temps are good. The lower rad hose is hot. Like, we're ticking off all the boxes here. So we're gonna shut this thing off and call that a success. But I do want to jack the front end up and just take a peek real quick to see if there's anything suspicious. I'm not going to whip out the jack stands or anything, and don't hate me, guys. I just want to take a real quick peek underneath this thing and see if we got anything weird going on. Which, if we don't, honestly, I'm going to be mind blown. On the Subaru, when we built that car, I was pretty confident because I knew that we used like top of the line parts on absolutely everything that we put on that car. And then was this thing, like, I just kind of scrapped together everything that I could in the cheapest way possible. You guys are going to be so sketched out because there's no jack stand under this thing. I'm living my life dangerously here. The only spot that I'm suspicious of is going to be the oil drain line, which is not leaking. That is crazy. Dude, we have no leaks anywhere. This is wild. All right, let's drop her down and look in the engine bay. Damn, I just realized we went for that rip and I never even torqued the wheels. That's okay. That impact goes to like 90 foot-pounds on the second setting. And looking under the hood, I really did truthfully take my time putting this thing together. So I'm not like shocked that there's no leaks, but I am a little bit surprised. Oh, what's that? That looks like coolant, but where is it coming from? It looks like the lower rad hose might be leaking a little bit. You see it dripping right there. But with all these dumb skid plates that I put on, you can't really see anything. This is the exact reason I didn't want to put any of these undercovers on here, is for things like this. You get one little tiny leak and you got to pull off a whole skid plate just to get at the leak. That could have been the coolant smell we had, but I don't think so. That's so minor. So if we hop under here and peel this back, you guys can see that that is coming directly from the lower rad hose. And it's right at the connection where the silicone coupler meets the plastic of the stock rad. So I'm going to loosen that clamp off and like move it closer towards the rad itself. I always like to put it a little bit further away, and I like to keep it close to the little rib that's on the hose connection because I find it seals the best that way, but in this situation maybe it didn't. So I went ahead and got the coolant issue resolved off camera, which I wish I didn't because I made a freaking mess and I wish you guys could have seen that. These CX Racing silicone couplers suck. As you guys can see, there was a lot of coolant that came out of this thing. Like, it leaked like crazy. As soon as I loosened the hose clamp, like 3 turns, it just started pouring out. So that tells me that this silicone coupler in the CX Racing kit is not 100% the proper size for this rad. It's a little bit too big. And then, if you guys can't tell, I went ahead and cut out this whole section of the plastic trim because I think it was stupid. I just cut it right there. So that way, when we're doing boost leak tests and stuff like that on the dyno, we will be able to spray these silicone couplers and we'll be able to see everything. Because when you turbo cars and you're constantly working on the things, having the least amount of stuff in your way is the best thing ever, in my opinion. I hate working on cars taking off a million plastic shields to get at something, especially when you're just fixing a quick leak like this. It sucks. And we got to bleed the coolant again in this thing, which kind of sucks. Out of everything that could have gone wrong though with a first drive, I would say that this was pretty successful. Only having the lower rat hose leak, that's not a bad day. So I just ran the car for like 20 minutes in the shop and bled the coolant all out again. It was a lot easier the second time because we obviously had way less air in the system because it wasn't empty for a year. But then I jack up the car and take a peek underneath. And if you guys look, even after I freaking moved the hose clamp and tightened the living shit out of it, she still has the slightest leak. It is so minor. So I'm wondering if I just need to go get a 1/4 inch smaller silicone coupler and run it that way. This is the one that came in the CX Racing kit, and I have moved this hose clamp like 3 different positions and I can't get it to seal. So the only other option at this point is to double hose clamp it and see what happens when I do that. Put one hose clamp right at the rib and then one hose clamp right at the end of the hose. I'm not gonna fix this today or in this video because this was a first drive video and this was a happy video, not a sad video. I do got one more thing that I need to do before I go home. We've got a couple exhausts in here. I know that this looks janky and it looks cheap, but hear me out here. We got a stock 8th gen Civic SI muffler. A guy named Jesse that is local from Edmonton hooked me up, and he ended up having a bunch of 8th gen Civics sitting in his field, he said, apparently. So he must have a couple parts cars. He pulled a muffler off of one of them, and he didn't even charge me for this. He just gave it to me. So thank you very much, Jesse. If you're watching this, I appreciate it, dude. Next, we had another guy local to Edmonton that I met at the track actually this past summer. His name's Trey. He had the stock catback to the rear axle, I guess you could call it, with the factory resonator. So that completes my full stock exhaust. That was the exhaust that I built for the car back when it was COVID and I was bored and I needed something to do. I welded a 3-inch NVIDIA resonator in and the NVIDIA N1 exhaust tip. That was actually back like close to when I first started YouTube, which is pretty funny sometimes going back and watching some of those videos. I want to say they're cringy, but they're not, because that was me at the time and I thought it was cool at the time. So that's why I don't take those videos down. I think it's cool to go back and kind of see the way I was before and the way I am now. I don't really think I've changed. I think I just stopped swearing on camera as much, I guess. But for our exhaust setup, if I don't like the SI muffler, I always have this N1 tip that I could weld onto the factory exhaust pipe if I wanted to chop off the stock muffler. But what we're going to be doing back here is I bought a Evil Energy electronic exhaust cutout. So this basically just has a valve that opens and closes, and you run these wires into the cab of the car. And this thing has, you can either plug it into a cigarette lighter or it has an actual freaking remote for it. And there's a module that you wire power to, and you can literally just press open on the remote and then your exhaust valve will open, and then the car is going to dump right out of this little turn down tube here and dump straight out the downpipe. Instead of dumping this way through the factory exhaust, the exhaust gases are going to take the path of least resistance, come out right here, and it's going to be loud as hell. So the debate that we have here is, should I cut this flange off of my old stock exhaust and then weld it to this pipe so that I can bolt these up and put a gasket in there and always unbolt it? Or should I get a 3-inch to 2.5-inch step down flange and then buy a brand new flange like that and bolt it up? And then on this side, should I weld this to the 3-inch down pipe that we have in there now? Or should I just get a slip-on clamp and just clamp it rather than welding it? Because I only have a MIG welder and this is all stainless. And honestly, I don't really know what type of metal the factory exhaust is, but it definitely ain't stainless. So when you MIG weld metals like this and you drive it in the winter where there's salt and even just regular water getting on open metal like that, it turns out looking like this, which is the exhaust that I welded. And you can see that those welds are pretty freaking rusty. Actually, where it was bolted up right here, there was holes in it because it rusted right through. It gets very, very thin, very easy. And this is just galvanized steel that I bought from Canadian Tire. Here's another example. Here I welded the exhaust hangers onto a stainless muffler, and look how rusty it's getting because I didn't paint anything on it or seal it at all. So I got a new gasket and new bolts for this rear flange, but I haven't figured out the whole front area on what we're going to do. But this is all going to be next video. So that's going to be it for this video, boys. Thank you so much for watching. We finally got the first freaking drive in the Civic, even though she's leaking coolant from the lower rat hose. Given how much stuff we actually did to this car, that's not that bad. We're going to do the whole exhaust setup here next video, and then we're going to get the car moved over to my house. So we might have one video left in this shop, which is crazy because this is at my parents' house. This is where it all started. I was very, very fortunate my entire life to have, well, not my entire life, but since my dad built the shop, that my dad built a shop and let me work in it. My dad didn't charge me to work in the shop. He let me pursue my passion and try and start something cool with my life. And the irony in that saying is kind of funny, but you guys know what I mean. But besides the corny jokes, this Civic is going to be the last build that gets done in this shop. I'm really, really excited to move on with my life and try and do things on my own and renovate and build my own shop to the way that I want it to be, even though it's nowhere near as big as this. We got a car lift in my shop and way less space, but I think we'll be able to turn it into a really fun space. And I'm really excited to be able to show you guys the whole transformation process of the shop. So that's going to be it for this video. It was definitely longer than I thought it was going to be, but that's okay because we had fun. So peace out, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys when I'm ready to weld some exhaust.